Welcome to Page to Screen, the podcast where Nikki and Christina discuss books that were turned into movies and films that were adapted from books. As always, we do remind you that spoilers lay ahead. Now, we invite you to decide with us the age-old question, which is better, the book or the movie?
Oh, what is that? Sound the alarms. Is a surprise drop. Hey, everybody. I didn't prep for this one. Hey, everybody. It's a Page to Screen surprise episode.
Are you surprised yet?
Boom. This episode doesn't fall onto the general list. This is an episode that is necessary. We've talked about it. We were gonna do it. We did it. Has to happen right now. The continuing adventures of Cinderella. So if you listen to our Cinderella episode, you know that we did Cinderella and Ever After, which we could talk about for months, years.
I could keep talking for years about Ever After.
Yeah. But what we briefly touched on at the end of that episode was something magical. Something I don't think anyone should ever have to see by themselves.
I stood firmly that I would not do something, and then I did something, and then I threw a wrench into our last episode about Cinderella, and here we are.
I don't think you threw a wrench in it. I think you expanded the Cinderella cinematic universe. Christina watched the Amazon Cinderella, everybody. She did it.
I threw a magical wand into the cogs. How about that?
I love it. So because Christina opened the portal to the many other options of Cinderella, we are here right now to bring you an episode where we're going to talk about so much. But first, oh my God, Christina, the Amazon Cinderella movie.
Recently, all very tightly together, I've been watching The Book of Boba. I've been watching Peacemaker. I watched Nightmare Alley. I watched like a lot of movies and TV shows all together that all made me feel great. Like these are all just solid, making me happy, giving me what I want. And right before then, I watched the Amazon Cinderella movie. So I feel like I earned it because I watched the Amazon Cinderella film. Okay, so with the Amazon Cinderella, when they announced it, I was all for it. I thought it was going to be more like the musical, like they were doing the Julie Andrews Cinderella, but updating it and good casting. That's kind of where I thought they were going with it.
Yeah.
I was very wrong.
Yeah. Like when I heard Idina Menzel was in it, I'm sorry if John Holt is listening.
Yes.
I met Adele Dazeem. When I heard that she was going to be in it.
Adele Dazeem.
Do people still laugh at that?
And now, ladies and gentlemen, Adele Dazeem.
Is that still a funny joke? Do the kids still giggle about that one? I don't know. I'm old.
Nikki, people didn't understand when we joked about it when it happened.
I know.
It's been like 10 years.
I still think it's funny.
I still think it's hysterical.
When I found out she was going to be in it, I was like, hold the phone.
Yeah.
A musical version of Cinderella starring Adele Dazeem and Billy Porter. This is going to be something.
Yes.
And it was something.
It was something.
Not the something that I wanted, but it's the something that we have.
It's a mess. It's something that actually pisses me off more because I enjoy watching bad movies. They kind of give me life. There's something very genuine and not at all offensive about something like The Room or A Talking Cat.
Yeah.
that I just enjoy. But what really offends me about this movie is that it could have been good. And that actually is worse
Yeah.
because you have like a really fun cast. I mean, you've got Minnie Driver and what's his face as the king and queen. What's his
Oh,
name?
Pierce
James
Brosnan.
Pierce Brosnan. Thank you very
You have
much.
James Bond. A former Bond is the king. It's just
So fun.
it is
And
fun.
the chick who plays Cinderella is cool, Billy Porter. Yeah, even the stepsisters, I thought they were both super
Yeah.
fun to watch, but the music is not good. It's like they tried to steal from Moulin Rouge and Hamilton, and it doesn't work. The comedy is not very funny. It's just a mess. It's like they were trying to
Yeah.
steal from Ever After and the Brandy Cinderella, but without what makes those two special.
And it even goes a little bit deeper than that when you think about it too. Like there are scenes that look like the actors are not even being filmed together. The one that really gets me is when Billy Porter, who they talked about him being in this movie forever. He's literally
did.
in like 5 seconds of this film. He sings half of a song and
Yeah.
disappears. And he does like some voiceover, but that's really it for him. But
And he
this-
shows up first as a butterfly.
yeah, which was
Very strange.
yeah. But when it's Billy Porter and Camilla Cabello, is that how you say your name? When it's the two of them together in the garden and he's giving her that dress and she's doing the whole thing where she's like, yes,
Yeah.
yeah. Are they even in the same room?
I don't know.
Also, that dress is awful. It has
Yeah.
the worst fit I've ever seen of a Cinderella dress.
And it's like they really were, because the Brandy Cinderella has a lot of really bright colors. It's very like kind of cartoony and campy. And it's like they tried to do that again, but it looks like a little girl's fairy princess birthday party.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like a movie should look.
And I'm so glad you brought up the Brandy Whitney Houston Cinderella, because when they brought that to Disney Plus, I probably watched it nonstop that whole day. Once it ended, I put it back on because I loved that version of Cinderella. I lived for that version of Cinderella. Brandy was my Cinderella. What they were able to do, what Disney was able to do with this version of Rodgers and Hammerstein's Cinderella, is it was so multicultural. You had Whoopi Goldberg as the queen with the guy who isn't the dad from Alias as
Victor Garber.
That's Victor Garber, the guy from Alias.
Victor Garber, he's like a very well known, renowned actor, and he's the dad from Alien.
Well, it was between that and like, wasn't he in Legally Blonde?
Bro, he's in Titanic. If you're gonna,
he is in Titanic. I know.
Mr. Andrews.
I know. I'm an awful person, but they played husband and wife. Their son is of Asian descent. You have Brandy. You have Bernadette Peters, for Christ's sakes. Bernadette Peters.
God,
my
I love
God.
Bernadette Peters.
Bernadette Peters as the stepmother was my everything. And then the women playing the stepsisters.
Yeah.
Everybody in this movie is top notch. I mean, you even have Jason Alexander, who we all know from The Hunchback of Notre Dame. I mean, he was also in Seinfeld, everyone, it's fine. But, the whole film is filled with so much light and so much happiness, and everything is so upbeat. And you feel for Brandy, even when she's singing, in My Own Little Corner, and you're like, oh, there's never a down moment in that version. Then you watch this Amazon one, and you're like, is it over yet?
Exactly. And, I don't have the passion for, please remain my best friend, but I don't have the passion for the Brandy Cinderella like you do. I watched it once when I was a kid, and I watched it once when Disney Plus put it on, and it's great. Like it's fine, but I don't have like a connection to it. Like I'm not going to go and rewatch it 1,000 times. But if I had children or if I were like babysitting
Yeah.
and they went to put on the Amazon Cinderella, I'd be like, no,
Yeah.
and like slap their hand, and then I'd put on the Brandy one because I really like the Brandy one, and I think it was really like one of the first times as a kid I watched something with blind casting.
Yeah.
And I remember it being important when I was a kid and thinking like it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you're black, Asian, white, it doesn't matter. All these people are performing the roles well, and that's the important part. Everything else doesn't really matter. And when you saw the casting for the Amazon one, I think, okay, cool. So they're going to bring back that kind of vibe. But instead, it's just like this millennial whoop garbage
Yeah.
with really bad auto tune and bizarre scenes like what you're talking about, where it doesn't even feel like they're in the same scene. And I'll say it again when it's the prince in the in the palace,
Oh,
when
the
he's
choir?
talking to his best friend slash like guardsman guy.
Yeah.
That one was weird too, and it kind of seemed like they possibly weren't even in the same area at the same time.
But even with this being, you know, a modern take on Cinderella, I would say that the Brandy Cinderella is the more modern version. Because,
Agreed.
so we have, list all of the other nationalities that you noticed in the Amazon version of Cinderella.
Oh, I don't know.
I mean,
a bunch.
You got Billy Porter. No, like, who played main characters? It was mostly white people.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah,
Whereas
even like the king and queen.
Yeah, when you look at the Brandy version,
yeah,
it is,
and the prince is still. Oh, wait a minute, you're right. Now I'm getting mad.
yeah, the Amazon version is primarily white.
Yeah,
shockingly white for something to have followed, you know, Brandy's Cinderella, where we have this beautiful rainbow of all of these different people playing these parts that normally, if it wasn't some sort of blind casting version, they would have never been able to play.
Yeah,
because like people still talk about that to this day. When we got Princess Tiana, they're like, Tiana's the first black princess. Oh no, she is not. Brandy Cinderella was my first black princess. And do not take that crown away from her.
There's still like some Hollywood racist bullshit though when they do this, because it's like they can't have two people of color. They have to change it up, and they always like try to find women who fit the minority like little box to check, but they try to get them if they're slimmer, they have, you know, softer hair. Like they try to find women who fit the bill but kind of lean more towards what we traditionally think of as Caucasian Western kind of look.
Yeah.
And then they will also pair them with a man who is not of the same race. So Tiana doesn't end up with another guy from New Orleans. Instead, it's a made up country that appears to maybe be Brazil.
Wait, Moldova's made up?
And then in the Brandy one, the prince is Asian, right?
Yeah.
Isn't he? Yeah, okay. And so then in this one, it's a white guy. Like they always do that. It's so frustrating.
It is. It's this idea, it's such an outdated idea.
Yeah.
That we are not capable of understanding that other cultures can have the same story to tell.
Mm-hmm.
It's very upsetting. It's very, very upsetting.
And it's also they do that thinking that they're going to piss off audiences if they give you more casting of non-white people.
Yeah.
And in doing that, though, it makes other people assume that they're not going to get cast in those roles, which means that those people will not audition for those roles. Yeah. And you continue this horrible trend of not having proper representation. Yeah. And it also, I mean, you think about the little kids watching these movies and thinking about what is quietly going in the back of their head.
Yeah. I mean, when you take a look at the Cinderella adaptations, it is, with the exception of Brandy's Cinderella,
Yeah.
the shades vary from egg white to, I don't know, off-white, maybe beige is in there. There's not really a lot of diversity when it comes to Cinderella.
Well, let's not forget Jennifer Lopez in Made in Manhattan.
That is true. That is true. That
There
does
you go.
count as a Cinderella story.
Yeah.
That one does count. And speaking of a Cinderella story, I because I knew we were going to do this, because I knew this episode was coming out, I watched it.
You're the overachiever of the podcast.
I really am. I watched a Cinderella story. I don't think I have ever actually seen the Cinderella story. This movie came out in 2004. This was definitely high school me would have wanted to see this because I was a big fan of Lizzie McGuire when that was on TV.
See, whereas I'm pretty sure I did watch it in high school and I was not a Lizzie McGuire fan and I did not rewatch it for this podcast.
It is, the acting is not good. I mean,
What?
with the exception of Jennifer Coolidge. Jennifer Coolidge is, put her in anything.
I love her.
It's the movie's very cheesy. It's not the greatest, but it is a Cinderella story. It's weird. It is a weird movie, though.
Who's the guy?
Oh, Chad Michael Murray.
I knew it. And in my head, all I can think of was Channing Tatum, and I knew it wasn't him. She doesn't meet him at a strip club.
I mean, she could.
She could.
We don't know what happens.
Sex positivity, guys.
Yeah. Come on, don't do that. Don't do him like that. It's just...
Doesn't it end with like her? Isn't she wearing like Converse and they dance under like an arbor?
You're mixing up the movie poster with what actually happens in the movie. She her name is Sam for Samantha. And I just want to say too that Regina King is in this.
I love Regina King.
So do I. So that was another thing where I was like, okay, I can definitely watch this. But in a Cinderella story, her name is Sam, and her dad dies in an earthquake.
Why are you laughing?
because it just seems so bizarre to me because the house doesn't fall apart or anything. Her dad just dies in the middle of an earthquake.
So if you were out to eat with friends and
I wouldn't.
like,
no, stop.
Oh, hey, Maggie, why are you so down today? Oh, my uncle died in an earthquake. You just start laughing.
Oh, I'll try not to. No. Anyways, Sam's dad dies in this earthquake, and he was married to Jennifer Coolidge's character, Fiona, which makes me laugh, too, because Fiona is the princess name from Shrek, so I think it's really funny. She's hilariously herself in this movie. And it follows, the same tropes, the two stepsisters who make Cinderella, Sam, do everything. But in this, the added on addition is that she's not just doing housework. Her family owns a restaurant. Her dad owned a diner. And she works there, and she's trying to go to Princeton. She really wants to leave her town. But she's been chatting with a guy. This is so 2004. The whole premise is she's chatting with a guy that she doesn't know is Chad Michael Murray through emails, and they met in a chat room. See, it's funny.
That is funny.
They meet in a chat room. They go to the same school. He's popular. She's not. They don't really know each other. I know, right? Oh my God. And then he tells her that he's going to be at this Halloween dance, this costume dance.
Oh,
and there's a wonderful montage of Hilary Duff trying on costumes until Regina King's like, I have the best outfit for you. And it's a wedding dress that she bought when she was like, if I ever made it down the aisle again. It was like a cutesy little thing. So she wears this beautiful wedding dress to the school dance, and they meet, and she's wearing a mask, but it only covers up like her nose to like her forehead. The rest of her face is fully exposed. It's not like she's wearing a KN95. Like, you can definitely... it's not like she's wearing a KN95 and sunglasses. She's wearing, like, a half mask sort of situation. Like
Well,
Zorro.
it's like the movie version of Phantom of the Opera when the Phantom's wearing that tiny little itsy-bitsy mask in the masquerade scene.
Yes, and we're all like, we can see you, Phantom.
We can see all of you.
But Chad Michael Murray's character is so full of himself, he doesn't even notice that it's this girl that he has classes with. He's in school with her. And she loses her cell phone. Yeah. She loses her cell
Instead of
phone.
her shoe.
Yeah. And it's like, it's weird. Then her stepsisters find out about the whole thing.
And then he goes around trying to put the cell phone up to other girls' feet.
Well, this is where it kind of changes the whole thing, is that he doesn't even, it's a very small fit. It was a flip phone. He has her phone or whatever. The evil stepsisters find out that Sam is talking to this guy online, and he says to her, like, why did you run after the dance? Is it because you found out who I was? That I don't know, I think his name's Austin, or I don't know, Dallas. It's some stupid city name. Finds out.
Maybe Detroit, something like that.
Boston, Miami, I don't know. Finds out, like, he says it in a message, and the sisters are like, holy crap. Then they use that information, give it to the popular girl who was dating him, and they basically expose her.
Yeah.
But the whole time I'm watching it going, how did you not know it was her? You're looking right at her right now. You guys are across from each other. Why don't you just look at her and go, that face looks so familiar. Are you the girl who is wearing the mask? This must be your phone.
Now, here, okay, so Cinderella story, would you recommend it?
If you need a good laugh, definitely.
Would you, if someone said, I've only got 95 minutes, it's either Cinderella story or Amazon Cinderella, what do I do?
Cinderella story. No question, hands down. There is a line in this movie that cracks me up, though, because she goes into the boys' dressing room at one point. Is it a dressing room? What's it? Locker room? Oh my god, it's not a dressing room. They're
not everything is the theater.
Oh, the theater. And they have this conversation. They have this full-out conversation about the two of them, about how he didn't stick up for her when she was getting made fun of by all those girls for being the cell phone girl. Mm-hmm. And she says something like, waiting for you is like waiting for rain in this drought. Pointless and disappointing. And it's such a dramatic read. It is so overly dramatic that you're kind of just like, what? Who wrote this? No bueno. It's very bizarre. It is extremely bizarre. I don't, like, there's so many other Cinderellas, too. Like, we briefly touched on Maid in Manhattan. There's also, anytime a girl gets a makeover, I guess you would consider it to be a Cinderella version.
Well, that's something that I was thinking about since we recorded, that the Cinderella story is just so deeply ingrained in everything. It's just one of those, like, anchor stories that is the source of so many other stories. Even when we talk about, like, life imitating art imitating life, and Stella has reverse Cinderella. It's like the guy that she's with is the Cinderella. He's just like a guy working in Jamaica, and then he's found by a princess, then moves to America, his dream. Like, it's in everything.
Mm-hmm. I will say, of all of the adaptations of Cinderella, I am a stickler for, something that's a little bit more, I don't know, like, not authentic. I mean, you can't really get authentic. No one's cutting off their feet. But I really like Disney's animated version of Cinderella.
I love that one, yeah.
But once Disney started doing their live action films, I took a very hard stance on being against them doing these, because I was not interested in them adding more to the story. I didn't think it was necessary. And then I watched the live action Cinderella, and I loved it.
I have mixed feelings about it. When I first started watching it, I was prepared to hate it. And then the first third of the movie, I really dug. And it's doing a lot of ever after. Mm-hmm. It takes more from what was that guy's name? Like Charles Peralta or whatever
Yeah.
he was, the other one
The
that we
other one.
read.
The other guy.
The
Ugh.
other guy.
The guy who was like, don't hold a
Um,
grudge. Please.
it takes some from his, and it's got a great cast between Lily
Yeah.
James and my favorite actress, I think, Kate Blanchett.
Oh, she's so good in that.
Again, like perfect. Like Kate Blanchett, Idina Menzel, Bernadette Peters, they are all just like knockout stepmoms. So good. Um, but it still loses. It still loses me. And I think one reason why is because the live action Disney films do a surprisingly bad job of abandoning some of the magic in the original movies. So the fact that like the mice don't speak and there's no music, that like there's not a song between Cinderella and the prince once they start dancing, like it's
Yeah.
surprising. It's surprising some of the things that they abandon in the live action films.
But I think with Cinderella it still works because if you look at the Brothers Grimm version, the birds don't talk back to her, you know? She kind of
Yeah.
like recites a poem and the birds help her out.
Mm-hmm.
So I think in that respect it does work for that
Mm-hmm.
film. But when you look at some of the other Disney live action ones, which I still have not watched the live action Aladdin.
The live action Aladdin is weird because some of it works really well. Like I was surprised how much I really enjoyed Will Smith as the genie. Like
Yeah.
he's just so much fun, and he's a pretty good replacement because he still has that 90s nostalgia for us old
Yeah.
people. But then he's like fun enough for young kids without doing a lot of the like impressions that Robin Williams did. Like little kids don't get that, so
Yeah.
I understand why that's not an aspect of the genie because it kind of doesn't make sense. But Aladdin's like fun. Like you should watch it. It's a fun one to watch, but it's still just missing something.
Yeah.
And Jafar. This is one thing that like Disney does that I don't understand. They take away all of the teeth and scariness of the villains. Like Maleficent's a good guy. Cruella now is a good guy. Even the Kate Blanchett is kind of a forgivable character in Cinderella in a way.
Yeah.
Jafar is boring. It's like they don't want kids to get scared. Meanwhile, this story is based in people cutting their feet off, and they made a movie with Maleficent talking about sending people to hell. So I don't know why there's been a change of villainousness.
Well, to take it back to Ever After, we did kind of give Angelica Houston a pass at the beginning of Ever After when we feel bad for her because she didn't get enough time with her husband.
I'm fine with adding more character development to a villain, but that doesn't mean they're not a piece of shit.
Yeah. No, I agree. There's not really a lot of... I don't know, when you really dig down deep, there's not... Ever After, I think, is the one where the stepmother is the worst. The meanest.
I love her.
And the
I love her
cruelest.
being the worst.
You know what yeah, but you know what I mean? Like, between... I'd say the animated Cinderella, because, oh my God, the stepmother in the animated Cinderella is terrible. And I live for it.
I love it.
When she's in that big bed, oh my God.
Yeah, I love that big bed. I want to sleep in that big bed.
Same. Oh my God, what I wouldn't do to be a villain. Oh my God.
Her eyebrow, they always have the best eyebrows.
The villains always have the best faces. You know what I mean? Like, there's this thing that I read about online, especially when you talk about Cinderella. The reason we find Cinderella to be so attractive in the animated version is when you look at her face, she has actual eyes. She has the whites of her eyes, the color blue in her eyes. She has natural eyebrows. She has a roundish sort of like face shape, but defined.
She has freckles.
Yeah, and she has like nice full lips. Then you look at Anastasia and Drizella, and they have like little black dots of her eyes, these long elongated faces, these overly designed like facial
Their
Like,
noses
yeah,
are,
they're more
yeah.
bulbous instead of cute and like button up. But then you
Mhm.
look at the evil stepmother, and
Mhm.
she has a lot of the same facial features that Cinderella has,
Yeah.
to let you know that conceptually she was beautiful. It's very much the, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs evil queen situation,
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
like her beauty has faded. Um Unfortunately, her two daughters, Anastasia and Drizella, got it all from the dad side of the family apparently. Um
Well, it's interesting because if you think about it, everything that you just said can actually be applied to the other Cinderella adaptations that we've talked about, where Angelica Houston, it is beautiful and was beautiful when she was younger.
yeah.
She does have more like masculine type features, but what's funny is that in the movie she accuses Danielle of having masculine
Yeah.
features, which I don't really think that Drew Barrymore has, but she does have that Barrymore chin that's just like so recognizable. And
Mhm.
then you think about Bernadette Peters. I mean, she's gorgeous. Idina Menzel, and then their Cinderella equivalents, and how there is kind of this. There's always been the thing of the Madonna whore, the young woman versus the old woman, and how like the aged woman is always the crone and the uh just the crone makes me laugh. Like we're all turning into crones. Um like that's the scary part. You want to
Yeah.
be young and pretty, you don't want to be an old crone. Um but it kind of goes into the idea of feminine beauty and how you're told to do like natural makeup and stuff, but both of us like a nice bold red lip. But who wears the red lipstick? It's the Disney villains.
Yeah.
The princesses aren't necessarily going to be in black and purple and red. And guess what my favorite colors are? Black and purple and red. And but those colors are all more the villainous colors and harsher and less traditionally pretty and girlish and feminine. There's something to that. It's just
Yeah.
interesting how like this is bad and this is good, and yet they're kind of mirroring each other. They're not as black and white as one would assume.
Yeah. It's like looking at the opposite side of the color wheel
Yeah.
for everything to get what.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's just like, are we the villains?
I think we're mid. I think we're in between princess and crone.
50-50 shot. I'm gonna be one of them, right?
We're in between. We're trying to earn our crone wings.
Yeah. I think we need bigger beds to be crows.
So the minute I go from a queen size bed to a king size bed, that's when it's
Yeah.
crone time.
Yep. It's crone time, baby.
Crone girl summer.
Yeah. Was it? Gorgeous, gorgeous girls are crones.
No, but I do really just love the stepmother character though. With the Amazon Cinderella, I'll tell you right now, my favorite part, if I had to pick one, which I kind of don't want to, but if I had to, it would be Idina Menzel singing Material Girl.
I
Like
knew you
I
were gonna
just
say it. I would, in my head I was going, material girl, material girl,
yeah.
material girl.
Number one, I love me some Madonna, but I just find Idina Menzel to be so fun, and I wish that she was in more movies. And it does kind of go into that same feeling of her being trapped in this classism and being a woman and not being able to go and be independent and this is my life, and they're stealing that from Ever After, but they're trying to make it their own. They don't, they fail.
Yeah.
But if I had to say there was one light in that movie, that's the scene for me.
Same. That was probably the best use of characters,
Right.
because it it not only by using the song Material Girl, we didn't just get a deeper understanding of like, it wasn't just a fun moment, but we got more to
Hmm.
why the stepmother would be the way she is. Why would she force her children to want to marry a prince? Easy. Because it's a
Hmm.
man's world, you know? That's just how it is at that time. And that's really, if you could take that one scene and plop it into a different Cinderella movie, you know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
it deserved to be in something else. Because this movie just was not where it was at. I mean, I understand what they were trying to do.
I totally get what they were
Yeah.
trying to do.
And I get that, you have a pop star who has her own song that you can put into a movie. But must that song be in the movie more than once?
No.
Must she run down a hill a la Sound of Music? Screaming the lyrics to the song? I don't think so.
What I don't understand at all about this is me turning into a crone over here. What I don't understand about music these days that the kids are listening to.
In my
Um,
day.
what I really don't understand about music these days is the overuse of auto-tune
Yeah.
and overproduction with pop music, because I enjoy pop music, but not today's pop music, 'cause
Yeah.
it all sounds the same. I don't understand where you've got her, and she can sing. She has a voice
Yeah.
and she can hit notes. And yet she's overprocessed and it sounds like an episode of Glee. I don't understand why they do that, because she can sing on her own and yet you're putting her voice through these mods and it doesn't sound right. It sounds like they had me up there singing and they fixed it in post.
Yeah. It's kind of like Singing in the Rain. You know what I mean? Like, it just feels so fake
Yeah,
and phony.
exactly.
And the other thing I don't
Exactly.
like is the riffing. There is so much riffing from her in the songs. Like, they're singing these big ensemble numbers and all of a sudden she's just going and it's like,
Yeah.
really, did that add anything to it? Plus her whole story, okay, the whole storyline for her wanting to be a dressmaker. What was so great about Danielle is that
Danielle de Bob.
it never gets old.
I say it all the time now.
She had these big dreams. Like, she read these great books and she wanted to kind of like change people's thinking and change the world. And then you have the live action version of Cinderella where she's just have courage and be kind and all that mumbo jumbo.
Mhm.
But what was this girl's like, what was her like, I'm just gonna open up a dress shop?
Yeah, and I'm kind of tired. I feel like the easiest grabs that they always do for women in media is that they either want to open a clothing boutique or they want to be a baker or they want to go into real estate. It's always one of those and it's never anything else. I am so fucking tired of the idea of women wanting to do something else means it's one of those things, because two of them are inherently sexist and the third one is just lazy. It's like the easy way to make it the rich mom in the valley who also is independent because she sells 2 houses a month. Like, it's just so lazy. And to have instead characters, I'll even include like Hermione in this. Hermione is upset about essentially like slaves and indentured servitude. She's upset about house elves. And it was so refreshing as a kid reading it. And you've got a female character who's really smart, the smartest out of all of the main characters. And she is worried about and has compassion and empathy about a completely different species. That I think is really cool and very different. And then, yeah, Danielle, she wants to correct the criminal justice system.
Yep.
She is a proponent for socialism. She wants class change. Like, she has actual things that she is concerned about and worried about and has answers to questions when the prince asks her questions. That is so much more meaty than I want a dress shop called Ella's Dresses.
Yeah.
Hi, would you please buy this dress for me? It's like, it's so lame.
It's very lame. It's very lame. And to your point about all those careers, don't worry about those women, Christina, because according to the Hallmark Channel, when they go home for the holidays, they quit those jobs. It's totally normal.
Why work at a mega firm up in New York when I can make apple cider? This is my new boyfriend, Bob.
That's how this Cinderella felt.
Yeah.
It did not feel like it. She didn't feel like a character who I would want to be friends with. Like,
Right. Yeah.
I don't. I mean, I don't have super lofty goals either, I guess. I mean, I wanted a 2-bedroom apartment and I got a 2-bedroom apartment. That was a big goal for me, you know?
Yeah.
I want to
Yeah.
be an old crone. That one's going to happen. But like
With enough luck, it'll happen to
yeah,
me one day.
one day I'll get a bed big enough to become an old crone. But you know what I mean? Like you and I have like career goals. You
Hmm.
know, like we know where we want to be, we know what we want to do, but none of them are so gender specific, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She is doubling down hard on the fact that what she wants to do is design these ugly dresses for people to the point that she sings a song with herself in front of her imaginary dress shop.
It's just like if you're a guy listening to this and you're just over us complaining about these things, think about if you're a guy and this is in like reverse world and the only three options you ever get are like basketball star,
Yeah.
I guess suit designer and real estate agent. Those are the only
No, I
three.
was gonna say auto mechanic.
There you go. Yeah,
Auto
auto mechanic,
mechanic.
suit designer, basketball star.
Yeah.
You get those three and that's it.
And you don't even get to design the shoes that go with the suit. You just design the suit and it's like the same suit, but you just keep adding butterflies to it because you think it's going to be more popular with a different fresh spin.
You know, another part though that rings false in the Amazon movie is that Cinderella is basically working as a slave ever since the relationship change in her household, whether it's the mom dying or just getting the new stepmom in, whatever it is. She is dirty. She doesn't get to wear nice things. She is not necessarily thinking that she's ugly, but there's certainly a lack of confidence and wanting to dress, like getting dressed up is special for her. This Cinderella feels extremely confident, like she already knows she looks good. There's no wonder, there's no magic when she turns into the ball gown Cinderella. There's nothing special about it. It's like she already has all of the, and I'm not saying that confidence in women is a bad thing. I'm saying for a Cinderella story where that's kind of part of the plot.
Yeah.
It's a problem.
Yeah, because there is a part in this movie where she's talking to one of her stepsisters and her stepsister's like, "Do you think I look pretty?" And she's like, "Why does it matter what I think? It should only matter what you think. Like, own it, girl." You know, that sort of stuff. And it feels very like millennial woo about her. But I totally agree. I think Cinderella is kind of like, what was the group with Harry? One Direction. One Direction had that song where it's like, you don't know you're beautiful and that's what makes you beautiful. And that's kind of like this, like Cinderella. Cinderella is beautiful, but not just because, you know, she is gorgeous on the outside. I mean, she's covered in dirt all the time. You don't really get to see her outer beauty, but she's beautiful on the inside too because she's just being her honest, true self. And she's quiet as a mouse because, you know, her evil stepmother would probably like beat her into submission if she wasn't. She's not very outgoing, so she lacks a lot of confidence, but it is true. This Cinderella is like, girl, no one's going to tell me what to do. No one's going to tell me who to be. I'm going to own that dress shop. I've been saving up for it. It's like, where are you getting money from?
See, and like thinking about Ever After and how it's such a perfect film.
Yeah.
Danielle in that movie doesn't necessarily think that she's ugly.
Yeah.
There's no part of that script or the way she acts that makes you think that she doesn't, that there's something about her that she feels insecure about. However, she's still being sold. She is sold in that movie to a different guy. And when Dougray Scott shows up to save her, and she has already saved herself, and he kneels down and he's got the shoe, and this is why all of the foot fetish stuff comes into play, and it's very important, is that she has a dirty ass sock that she pulls out of a dirty ass and hands her fucking foot to do Grace Scott the prince, who is kneeling on the ground, and he puts this pretty shoe on her, and then that is the Cinderella story right there. She goes from being dirty to now having this prince.
Yep. And that's
And it's special and it's magical, and
yeah.
it's good for the prince too, because in him taking the shoe and being on his knees, he is then becoming her equal. He's like, no, we're not. This is not about me being here and you being down here. We're equals.
Yeah, and what also is perfect about Danielle, what's perfect about her in Ever After is to your point about the thinking of herself as ugly. She doesn't think of herself in beauty standards, period. It's
Yes.
not something that when you're this is what they do well about this movie. Like, the math is wrong on everything, but this she doesn't have the time to sit around and think about how she looks. She has to, she has to go out and pick the apples. She has to tend to the farm. She has to make sure that the house is clean. At what point do you have the time to stop and look at yourself in a mirror and, like, give yourself a little winky face and be like, hey, girl, you're doing it, like in the Amazon one. She's constantly busy trying to keep up with a house that doesn't have enough individuals to keep the house looking the way it used to look. And, like, she doesn't have to worry about that, because I think that Danielle has enough confidence in herself to know that she wouldn't settle for somebody who would treat her the way she's been treated by her stepmother. And even with, the Disney Cinderella, they never talk about her as being unconventionally beautiful or being ugly. They don't even talk about her being dirty in the Disney animated one. You know what I mean? Like, she never has dirt on her. It's never a thing. Actually, in all those other adaptations, there's never really this overt look of Cinderella just being disgusting like there is in Ever After. Do you get what I mean? Like, well, even the Amazon one tried to go out of its way to make her look kind of dusty. But, like,
I was like laughing because now in my head I'm thinking to myself, like, this is a problem. They should redo Cinderella, and it's like Kristen Wiig, and she just shows up and she's got, like, I don't know, like, meat still in her teeth. She, like, her
yes. No, Cinderella didn't have any meat because they didn't
her
leave
nails
any
are all
scraps.
broken and covered in dirt.
Yeah, no, like, seriously, they should do a period accurate Cinderella where Cinderella's got, like, 10 missing teeth because dental hygiene was not really a thing, and she's been brushing her teeth with a stick. Like, they all
She
stink.
dies of dysentery on the honeymoon.
Yes, they only bathe once or twice. This goes back to the whole thing with the shoe full of blood. Like, she has to ride off into the sunset, and that shoe is just like...
But think about Ever After, when she is with the pig and she's in the forest, and then she sees that her hands are dirty, and then she goes into the water. She's very much a free spirit. And the prince even comments on, you swim alone, you do this, you do that. And so what he's commenting on is more her spirit, literally a free spirit.
Yeah.
And how he sees her bravery and she just does what she wants to do. And when she's in the water, she just feels at peace, and she feels free, and she feels clean and refreshed. It's not that she is dirty and then she goes into the water and then she has, like, a little mermaid moment coming out of it, and now she's beautiful. No, she's just swimming.
Doing it for herself. She's doing it for herself. And that once again, that's where the Amazon version gets it wrong. She's still trying to please. That's, I think, the biggest issue with me with her wanting to open up a dress shop, is that she's not creating designs for herself. She wants to create designs for the masses. So she's still looking to please someone that's not her.
Yeah. And think about the Beauty. Did you watch the live action Beauty and the Beast?
I did.
Okay. So I was cool with the change to Belle, how she's kind of more of, like, the inventor.
Yeah.
And the idea that she creates a
washing machine?
A washing machine. Yeah. It's like you have her and you're giving her a little bit more, but what she's doing is practical and it makes sense to the character and to the time frame, and it's not just a superficial talent that she has. It's actually her brains and her smarts. Like, give
Yeah.
Cinderella something like that. Instead of dresses, she makes more practical clothing for women. She's got to work all the time. So she wants to work all the time, but she wants to wear something a little bit
Yes.
nicer. So she create. Are you laughing?
No, I'm not laughing. I think it's smart. Like, she needs to make something with pockets.
I heard a laugh and I was like, what are you laughing at?
No, I'm saying yes. Like, she needs, like, I agree. Cinderella should be making, like, because at that time, women didn't have pockets. Everyone had little side pouches.
I still don't have pockets.
Exactly. Why can't, and I still don't have side pouches. I don't have pockets. I don't have a side pouch. I don't have a knife hidden in my boot. I don't know what I'm supposed to have anymore as a woman. Cinderella should have been making, like aprons or something, something, I agree, something completely practical.
This is my line of cleaning gloves.
Yes. They'll never call you Cinderella again when you use like the sham wow. Like, she needs to come up with something, because the reason the washing machine scene works so well in the live action Beauty and the Beast is because Belle's whole thing is she likes to read. She'll have more time to read if she's not hand washing all of her laundry.
Right. Problem solved.
That makes sense for her.
Yeah.
What is designing these dresses doing for the new Cinderella, especially when she doesn't even wear one of her own creations to the ball?
Wait, that's so funny. That's so stupid. You're right.
Did you not pick that one up? She doesn't even wear. She is so desperate to go to the ball. She doesn't go into her own basement. Like, if that would have been a flex, if she would have made her own dress for this ball, a la the mice in the first, iteration of Cinderella. Like, she makes this beautiful gown, and then she is wearing the gown herself. And it is her being strong and independent and owning the fact that this is my work and this is what I want to put out there in the world. No, she gets Billy Porter to put her in an ill-fitting pink gown, and she's all like, yes, I look good. Girl, you probably would have looked better in one of your own dresses. I got a lot of feelings. Like, I didn't think we were going to talk this long about this, but Lord Jesus.
Her making her own dress, like, that is such a funny thing for you to point out, because it's so true. And in my head, I just pictured, it's like the weirdest thing. I had the cleanest picture of a film that could have been made, where it's like, and of course the person I thought of is a white chick, so we're gonna have to probably fix that, but
Yeah.
it's like Chloe Grace Moritz is Cinderella in a movie written by like Diablo Cody, and in it she wants to go to the ball, she can't go to the ball. There is no fairy godmother. Instead, she makes her own dress and she gets herself to the ball. And it's nasty. It's dirty. She's beaten up her fingertips sewing this dress for 2 days in a row, so they're bloody, and she puts on like gloves. Like, it's a dark version.
Yeah.
But she gets her ass to the ball, and that is so much better.
Yes. You know why?
Bullshit.
Because we love a self-rescuing princess.
Yes.
We don't need all that other stuff. You know what I mean? Like, we don't need, we don't need a genie in a teapot. We don't need a fairy godmother to dress us. We are now at the age where we can, guess what? I can dress myself. But giving Amazon's Cinderella the ability to craft a dress, which there are still drag queens on RuPaul's Drag Race who can't sew a dress for themselves.
14 seasons and they're not getting the memo.
Exactly. You think if you're going to be on RuPaul's Drag Race, you'd pick up a few tips and tricks on how to use a sewing machine, but that's just me. But you give this girl the designs. You make, like, she has a wall where she's drawing out all of these dresses. She wants to be a dressmaker. Why didn't you let her make her own dress? Like, Billy Porter should have gone like, bibbity bobbity boo, here's your dress. And she could have looked down and been like, well, I truly appreciate all that you've done.
Yeah.
Like, pull a Legally Blonde and be like, I'm not wearing this. I'm going to wear this. And she walks out in her own beautiful dress, and all he has to say to her is, you look beautiful. You know what I mean?
It's just so weird that we've already had Ever After and Brandy Cinderella making some steps forward with the Cinderella story. And then Amazon decides to do it again, but take a few steps back.
Yeah. Well, I think the biggest step back they did was they cast. They are doing the thing that everyone hates. They cast James Corden in this movie. I am very. What secrets does he know? What does he know? Does he have like information on somebody and he's blackmailing people? How is he still in everything?
It's annoying. It's like there's always a few people that just get cast in everything. It's like these trends. It's just like the same person over and over and over again that you see. And James Corden's a weird one because he's not even like a good actor or particularly
Yeah.
funny. He just had a couple of viral big hits. So he became like a household name very quickly and has continued to be like an online presence. So for some reason, they think that's a great reason to put him in Cats, and it is not
Yeah.
actually a good reason. And
Yeah. Well, it's funny because I remember James Corden before he became huge. He was
mhm,
in One Man, Two Governors on Broadway and won the Tony Award for it. And
mhm,
if he's one of those, he's like Leah Michelle. He's one of those Broadway people that I don't think translates very well
yeah,
to screen because it comes off as completely pompous
yeah,
and it's not genuine anymore. Because like when he first started doing his TV show, the late night, I
mhm,
think people enjoyed him because it was like new and refreshing. But then he did the Ellen DeGeneres thing where he continues to do the same thing over and over and over again, and
yeah,
it's
yeah.
it's like we're kind of tired of it. Then he was in Into the Woods, Cats, this Cinderella. I mean, God forbid they put him in Wicked. Like, anytime you turn around and a musical's being done, it's like they have a folder of stock people,
Yeah.
and they're like, oh, let's just, it's kind of the Tim
Anna
Burton
Anna
thing.
Kendrick is kind of like that. Like I like Anna
Yes.
Kendrick, but she seems to be like the only person they think to cast
Yeah.
in a film. Like she's just always in these musicals, and I think I'm not saying anything like bad against her. I'm just like there's other people too. It doesn't
Yeah.
have to be her all the time.
Well, Anne Hathaway had the same situation happen to her, but it was
Mhm.
kind of different because Anne Hathaway's situation was a bunch of films that got shelved and then they all got released at the same time. So you had this overabundance of Anne Hathaway. It was just like, I cannot. And she, she knew the assignment and she went away for a while. You know what I mean? Like all of a sudden she shows up in Ocean's 8 and you're like, oh my God, it's Anne Hathaway.
And she's really good in Ocean's 8 too.
She's so good.
I
That
like
is
her in that
such a
movie.
phenomenal film. I'm just going to put that out there. But you know what I mean? Like James Corden he's not a strong enough screen presence to allot what they are giving him. And then
Mhm.
when he is on screen, he's trying to pull focus. And I don't appreciate that.
I was thinking about people who go from stage to screen, our spin-off.
Dun,
No.
dun, 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 dun.
Um so I was thinking about it with Idina Menzel because I love Idina Menzel and I was staring at her and on Cinderella and I thought like, oh, she's so pretty and she's aging really well. And it's actually a little refreshing that it doesn't look like she's like messed around with her face too much. Like she doesn't have a plasticky kind of look. Like she
Yeah.
looks like just really good. And I thought, why isn't she in movies more? And then I thought maybe that's why. Maybe a lot of these like theater people like being on theater because you're in theater and
Yeah.
you don't have like perhaps the same pressures and peer pressure to get stuff done like look wise. Like maybe that's the reason why they don't do as many TV and movie things because of that. I don't know. It's just a thought I had. It's a
I
theory.
don't know. I could see that. I mean, look at Hugh Jackman. He started out in theater, then got huge in movies, and he was Wolverine for like what 100 years. I don't know how long he's been alive, but you know what I mean. Like he's been Wolverine forever, and there's this when you're playing certain characters, especially when they're in multiple films, you have to keep up with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now he's back to doing Broadway,
Yeah.
where it's kind of like a little bit more loosey goosey about it.
But with him, I prefer Oklahoma Hugh Jackman
Yeah.
and Les Mis Hugh Jackman to Wolverine Hugh Jackman. Like I think that he's got more range, and it makes me sad that what's the one? Oh, Prisoners. Did you see Prisoners with him?
No.
Oh, you gotta watch Prisoners. It's so good, and he's really good in it. Like he's got a lot more. It's the reason why I liked Logan. Like he's got a lot more range, and I think that it's completely unused in Wolverine. When you
Yeah.
see that like video of him when he's like running in place and screaming, I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like, can we not do this for a second? And you can do like other acting.
I will say though, the other side of the coin with Hugh Jackman is I would prefer him not to do any more movie musicals. Um I don't I this hey theater people, plug your ears. I hated The Greatest Showman.
I hated The Greatest Showman.
Thank you so much. Oh my god, that feels so good to get off my shoulders. I hate it. I hate it so much. As someone who is in Barnum, y'all are wrong. Y'all are really, really wrong. Y'all are wrong about P.T. Barnum. He is an awful individual, and I hate him so much.
He was a piece of shit. P.T. Barnum was a total piece of shit, and that movie completely whitewashes the atrocities that he did. It seriously whitewashes the atrocities of P.T. Barnum and the circus life and everything he did. Fucking slavery. Like, he treated people like shit. He abused women. It's not good. And The Greatest Showman is just covered in millennial woos. It's bad CGI. It's everything I hate about the spectacle over substance. Yeah. It's just eye candy, and the music is immediately familiar to you because of the millennial woo. If you don't know what it is, look it up. It's in everything. It's the reason why all music sounds the same right now. Trash. And I hate it. I hated The Greatest Showman so much. I remember we watched that, and it was one of those nights where it was...
I just want to say, it feels so good that we agree on this.
That was a night where I think it was like a Saturday night, and we started watching it, and we're like, okay, let's get some pizza and a bottle of wine, and we're going to watch Greatest Showman. It's going to be cute. Halfway through the movie, we had finished that bottle of wine and decided to open the bottle that we bought for the next day, because we're like, we can't make it. Like, this is not good.
It's not good. It's just not a good...
Why even do The Greatest Showman when Barnum exists? Just do Barnum.
Oh my God. Thank you so much. Thank you. Jesus H. Christ, everybody. Barnum is a musical, and it was fine, and it was fun, and I was in it, and I enjoyed it, and I'm scared of clowns. Like, there's a whole thing there to unpack, but we'll talk about it later. But, like, Barnum the musical is more honest about Barnum the man. Like, he's an awful individual. He's a flim-flam. He's a humbug. He's a humbug. He's awful. He's terrible. For those of you who didn't go to Port St. Lucie High School and didn't see the production of Barnum, I played Mrs. Sherwood Stratton, and I sold my son to P.T. Barnum.
And I will have you guys know, I did not get cast because I can't sing. And back then you had to sing in order to get cast, which is really messed up. So instead, I worked on the crew, and I helped paint one of the balls.
Wait,
I'll have you know.
Were you there when we did the clown school?
I do remember clown school.
Oh my God, Mike Harwood learned how to ride the unicycle. I was awful at it. He was really good at it.
Hey, Nikki.
Yeah.
Did you know that I went to clown camp when I was a kid?
No, why would you do that?
One summer, I think I was like 8. I went to, they sent me to clown camp. I'm not joking. They sent me to clown camp, and it was like 2 weeks, and you learned how to do like somersaults and gags and some hand tricks, and you had to create your own clown. Mine had red hair. And
oh my God.
So both you and I have clown
We do. We have
certificates.
clown training. We do have clown training. I learned how to juggle. I could spin a plate. I came in with my own training, by the way. I got to twirl baton in the show, and I am a 3-year baton twirler.
I like how Jesse gave us a compliment. Jesse, our producer, everybody, gave us a compliment for not going off topic. like right before we recorded this.
Yeah, and the whole thing. I love
And
how
now we really let him down.
we went from Cinderella to Beauty and the Beast to Barnum, and how much we hate The Greatest Showman. It's all staying. We're not Jesse, we're keeping it all because you know what? This is a bonus episode, and this is what the people deserve. They deserve to know what every episode sounds like before you fix it.
Well, it's just the funny thing about Barnum, the musical Barnum already glosses over who
A
Barnum
lot.
was.
Yeah.
And already glosses over circuses. I mean, I think that all of us love the aesthetic of a circus. There's
No.
something inherently creepy about it.
Yes.
There's this macabre sense of like the freak show. There's also the wonder of the spectacle, seeing like acrobats and people doing things that you don't know how they're going to do it. Like, it's fun. It's both fun, it's creepy, it's all of it.
Yeah.
And I get why filmmakers want to go there, but if you're going to go there, it needs to be
dirty.
freaks. It needs to be Nightmare Alley. It needs to be The Prestige. We're not going to take like a slave ship and make it into a musical. That's not a good idea. It's not a good subject matter.
No, it's not. But I can hear somebody's head right now going, huh. With a little bit of jazz music and some of that popular millennial.
You know who it is? It's the Double D's from Game of Thrones making their What If the South Won. Let's make that a TV show for HBO.
I forgot all about
That's a great idea.
And see, this all circles back to the idea of Cinderella, and I'm going to tell you why. Because everyone's trying to put a new spin. Everyone's trying to take these stories that are inherently awful. When you really do think about Cinderella, let's get real here. The original story of Cinderella is terrible. She sleeps next to a fire. In every other iteration of Cinderella, she gets a bed. In the book, she's literally on the floor freezing to death. That's why they call her Cinderella, because she's covered in cinders from the fireplace, people. She has no friends. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if she's super illiterate. Like, who is going to teach her to read?
Yeah.
And we keep trying to paint it in this fun, romantic light. It's not always so romantic.
Mm-hmm.
Like, luckily, with the Brothers Grimm, we get these multiple nights where she gets to meet the prince, and they dance, and they talk, and they do the whatever at the ball. I've never been to one. I wouldn't know. They eat? I don't know. And then she gets her exercise by running away. But every other version makes it out like they meet and instantly fall in love, or they meet and they, like, with Ever After, and with this Amazon version, it's kind of like they battle back and forth over, like, what it means to be royal versus what it means to be poor. And then, it's kind of like, it's done. Like, there's no dirty version of Cinderella. Do you know what I mean? And not dirty as in sexual. Dirty as in, like, realistic.
Yeah, it's like Pornhub disagrees with you. There's definitely some dirty versions.
I don't want to know what she lost in those movies, okay?
The prince chases her down. You forgot your dildo at the ball. Now I have to try it on all the different girls.
Oh my God, I feel it. Listen, if that is a real movie out there, I don't want to know. I don't want to know. No. We don't talk about dildos. No, I don't care.
We'll wait until the women start cutting off parts of their bodies so that they can fit the dildo. It's gonna get real weird.
Oh my God, that just went in a whole different direction. What kind of snuff films are on the internet, Christina? Holy crap!
You can cut this part out.
Like I said earlier, we're keeping all of it. Oh my God.
No, did you ever watch the it's like the dark Snow White with My Queen, Sigourney Weaver?
Yes.
I love that one.
I love it too. And that's a way it can be done.
They can do one like that, but Cinderella.
Yeah. It's just, I feel like nobody wants to touch this one because of the way it's constantly been presented. It is a light-hearted, fluffy, love story. It's not as dark as Snow White. Like, Snow White is actively being pursued to be murdered by her stepmother in numerous ways.
Yeah.
If you read the original story, everybody, like, there's the poison hair comb, the corset that gets too tight, and then it's the apple that gets lodged in her throat. It's a big to-do, everybody. But Cinderella is just so pure. You know, no matter how bad she is treated by everybody, she's like, she overcomes adversity and is still herself no matter what. Because she doesn't do anything bad to them in the end. The birds did it. The birds pecked out their eyes. She didn't do it.
It wasn't me, it was the birds.
It was Marion and the birds. It was. I went down, blah, blah.
God, that freaking song, that scene, that long shot, it's so scary.
That is. It wasn't me. It was the birds. Suddenly, Alfred Hitchcock's in the background of the wedding scene for Cinderella, walking his dog. But yeah, I think that people just don't want to. I don't think people want to tarnish the idea of Cinderella, because even though, like, when you look at, I mean, here's an interesting way to put it. When you look at Disney as a whole, the theme parks and everything too, there's no Snow White castle.
I know. And that is another one I was thinking of too, and how Cinderella, I think the Disney Cinderella and the Cinderella story is just like quintessential fairy tale.
Yeah.
And to the point where when you go to like the Bibbidi Bobbidi boutique and little girls get dressed up like princesses, the immediate generic go-to looks exactly like Cinderella. It's the bun on the top of the head, some glitter, and a big poofy dress. When people talk about getting married and it's like, oh, what kind of dress are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Is it a mermaid cut? Is it this? Is it that? Is it princess? Princess, they're talking about Cinderella. That's the dress that they're talking about. It's just like, that is the top tier princess, even though Snow White's the first, even though others might be better, like, it's just classic.
Yeah. And I think that's it. I think overall, you're never going to find a story. You're never going to find someone who's going to tip the scales on that. You're never going to find someone who wants to, you know, upend the fairy tale. And you're always going to find people who are trying to put more to it. But you don't need. The beauty of Cinderella is that it doesn't need any more. It has everything it needs. You just need to make the character relatable. And unfortunately, Amazon didn't make her relatable.
Which sucks, because I think that she could have been. It's not her fault.
No, it's definitely the script that really did it in. Because like we mentioned, there are some moments in there that are fine. You know, it's not great overall.
Fleeting moments.
Yeah. One musical number does not a movie make.
I even liked, in theory, the relationship between Pierce Brosnan and Minnie Driver. I mean, that could have worked too. And it was fun even seeing them. Like, I didn't know that either of them were in that movie. And when they showed up, I was like, oh, cool. That's cool. But then it got bad quickly.
Yeah, it wasn't, I don't know, it was marketed one way and presented another.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't even get to talk about, like, James Corden turning into the mouse.
I can't.
I know, I'm scared. I am scared. Of all the things that could scare me, that's probably up there, number one.
I'm the weirdo that read Kobe Bryant's autopsy, and that freaked me out less than James Corden as a mouse.
Yeah, like, I live for all things murder. Like I could read the details of murders day in, day out for the rest of my life.
Yeah, cool.
You know, me and Anne Rule were best friends. But the minute I saw James Corden turn back into a mouse, I didn't like it. I like I have previously mentioned, I have a severe fear of clowns. And this is up there with that. This is like that scene was written by Stephen King, and I know it.
Oh, so actually you had a double whammy with The Greatest Showman, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about it.
Oh no.
Oh my goodness. There is just. I feel like we could go forever talking about Cinderella and Ever After.
Yeah.
It's just there is a lot to unpack, and I hope we didn't like. I don't want to say wreck it for anybody because there's not really much to wreck with Cinderella. It is, like you said, the quintessential fairy tale. It has everything you want: magic, pretty clothes, a prince, and a happily ever after. What more could you want?
Yeah.
It just works.
Mhm.
It like honestly, it's kind of like, when Hallmark Channel has their Mad Libs that fill in the blank to create a new
Yeah.
movie. Cinderella is the blank slate for all fairy tales.
Yeah. Yeah. I love Cinderella.
Me too.
Growing up, I was always torn between Cinderella and Beauty and the Beast. Um there's just something about Cinderella that I've always liked. I've always like kind of gravitated towards. And I don't like seeing her done dirty.
Yeah. Same. Same. I have I will fight for her. You know
I
what I
will
mean?
fight for her.
I will fight you. I might not have that knife in my boot or my side satchel or pockets, but I'll find something and I'll fight you with it.
You've mentioned a knife in your boot multiple times, so if I ever hang out with you and I see you wearing boots, I'm going to be on my toes.
I mostly wear flats, so
The best you can do is a toothpick.
yeah. You see me with a glass slipper, just like break it in half and turn it into a shiv.
I was thinking about like, oh, I want a glass slipper, but the best I can do is those like stripper heels with a clear.
Yeah,
It's the
it's
best
not
I
the
can
same
do.
effect.
Just like running around the house. Oops, Carlos, I dropped it.
Oh Lord. Listen, I am more. If we're gonna talk about Cinderella outfits, I am more suited for her "I'm cleaning the house" look than.
I love I it's like it's really unfair because I think that kids nowadays have really awesome toys and action figures. Like girls, the Barbie dolls that they do now are so much better because when I was
Yes.
a kid, the Barbies that you got, their faces all look the same. It was all just Barbie's face. And then she would have the hair kind of close. And then they would not replicate the movie dress. Instead, it would just be kind of like a big poofy 80s looking dress. But if it was Cinderella, it was blue. If it was Belle, it was yellow. And then they would have these stupid little buttons in the center with the character's face on it.
Yes.
So stupid. And now you look at the dolls and there is a Cinderella doll. It looks exactly like Cinderella. Not only does she have a screen accurate dress, but she also comes with the brown and white like slave Cinderella outfit, and then she also has the pink one, and
Yeah.
it's all exact. I would have died as a kid to have that.
Are you kidding me? Don't even get me started on the clothes they have for kids now. There's
Yeah.
the matching outfits for children. If they made those, listen, I have been trying to get. I would kill. I would kill to get a job as a marketing person for Disney and help them with their consumer goods, because if they would create adult sizes of those kids' dresses, 100% sold out every day. Don't like it's just a fact. If you made an adult version of Cinderella's house cleaning outfit that I could just rock all day long, I would. It looks comfortable. And the apron had a pocket.
I recently saw it's for little boys. It's a battle droid shirt from the prequels Star Wars, and they make it for little boys. Do they make it for big girls, soon to be crones like me? No. Do I think that this is ageism? Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, what's up with that? Why here's where they're going wrong with their merchandising. I can't wear it, so why should my kid?
I'd like to speak to the manager, please.
Listen, I will pull a full-on mommy dearest. If I can't have it, you can't have it. There you go. Rules are, if I can't have it, you can't have it. Can mommy dress like she's like she's Princess Leia? No, they all sold out of that one. No, so you don't get one. Sorry.
Listen, fellas.
This ain't my first rodeo.
So if you only had one Cinderella to keep for the rest of your life, which one would it be?
The Walt Disney animated.
Yeah, right.
Hands down. Like, as much as I love Ever After,
Disney's just the classic.
yeah, there's just something about, there's just something so beautiful in, you know, the design of it. And then if you go back and you look at like Mary Blair's concept art for what the castle looks like and what Cinderella would look like, there is just something that there's so much soul and so much heart and so much love to this story. And when Cinderella is in that field and the pumpkin's been smashed and she has that one shoe and she's saying thank you to her fairy godmother for, it's just so, oh my God, now I just want to watch it.
I know.
I just want to go and watch it, but I can't because I am watching every Disney movie in order.
They should make a Mary Blair movie.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Yes. Yes. Would watch. 100% would watch.
Yeah.
Like, ugh.
She was really pretty too, so you can cast a really cool actress and do like a Mary Blair film, like maybe kind of like, because my favorite, I really don't like biopics anymore. It's just impossible to get an entire person's life in one movie, but maybe kind of like the Mary Poppins Walt Disney one, Finding Mr. Banks.
Yeah.
Like something like that. Like maybe it's all about her Sleeping Beauty. I'm just like saying, like just one of those, like a week in her life or something would be cool.
Or her like designing It's a Small World.
Yeah,
that would be it. It would be Mary Blair designing It's a Small World.
Yeah.
And I would probably cry at the end.
Oh, I would cry throughout.
And then the end credits would have to show her art.
Well, that's the cool thing. Like they could do it and be like a very artistic movie where it's like her art is sort of throughout, kind of like in Frida. Like Frida, her art is actually part of the film, like that.
Yeah, I'm 100%. TM Disney, you have to buy these rights from us. We own it. We came up with it. We came up with it on this day, at this time. When you are listening to this, it is ours. Thank you. We did it first. I guess maybe I should Google and make sure they're not planning to do something like that.
See, I was looking at the It's a Small World lyrics. So like that should be part of the title. So there's a world of hope, maybe? No, that sounds like a charity event.
Yeah. I was like, what do you mean you're looking at the lyrics like a smile means friendship to everyone?
Okay, yeah, maybe not that.
After all, the Mary Blair story. I'm trying to think of what you would do. What lyrics would you make the Mary Blair story?
Well, because it's kind of like just one lyric repeated, you know?
Yeah.
It's like one of the stupidest things I've done. Let's look at the happy birthday lyrics next.
And a golden sun. One moon and one golden sun. The Mary Blair story.
No one would get it.
Clock face. The Mary Blair
Clock face. Oh, we should probably wrap this up. We're going on so many tangents, but
know.
I did.
This one's gonna need to. I lied. We're gonna edit this one.
You can cut the dildos out if you need
I think we might want to. It got a little weird. It got a little weird with the cutting off of labias and stuff.
We did American Psycho on the podcast.
Yeah, but it wasn't, Christian Bale plays Cinderella. He has to find.
Oh, so we can put rats up vaginas, but we can't find a missing dildo hole.
She just dropped the chainsaw on her way out of the apartment, so we had to pick it up and follow her and make sure it fit.
I don't want to, make fun of anybody's appearance, but those bangs do not make a Cinderella. Not today, sister.
Snap. She needs some aloe for that burn. Okay, we should wrap this up though.
Yeah.
This was fun going back and revisiting and expanding on the Cinderella cinematic universe.
Cinderella Revisited.
Uh,
Oh, now it's Halloween, I guess.
no, Halloween goes. Right? I don't. Anyways.
What?
Thank you all for joining us. As we dropped our secret surprise Cinderella episode.
It is 11:58. We gotta go.
Yeah. Oh my God. I'm not about to be running up a tree and have my dad cut it down. Was that Cinderella?
Let's just say I've got a pumpkin I need to get into.
No, listen. My fairy godmother told me strictly midnight. So let's skedaddle, Christina. Let's get out of here. But
Skadoodle.
Skedoodle. Shamil. Shamazel. This was it was really fun going back and expanding on Cinderella with you, and we really doubled down hard on that Amazon one.
Well, sometimes with these adaptations, when there's been a lot of adaptations or it's an older story, there's just so much to go over. It's hard to wrap it up in just one episode.
It is. And who knows, maybe throughout the year we'll have a couple more episodes just like this. Maybe not just like this, but we'll have a couple more episodes to surprise you with. But as always, thanks to our wonderful sound engineer, fairy godfather, Jesse.
Thank you, Jesse.
He does the magic with the sound.
Yes.
And thanks to all of you for listening and continuing to get to this point in your listening. I don't know. They might have dropped off. I don't know. And thanks once again to Christina.
Thank you, Nikki.
All right. I think I can hear the bell toll. And we better get out of here before the prince puts pitch on the stairs and we get stuck. So... I mean, oh my goodness, we didn't even talk about that. We don't have time. We don't have time to talk about musicals. So we're out. Christina, are you coming? Are you going to take my pumpkin or yours?
I'm already gone. What? And because I'm gone, I don't know why you can hear my voice because I'm gone, but I'm gone.
It's the magic of pumpkins. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone, and we'll be around. Maybe. I don't know. That sounded awful. Let's do that again. Thank you. We have to leave, so goodbye.
Close those gates. Open those gates.
Open those gates. All right, we are leaving now. The ball is over. Why are you still here?
Get out of here.
Get out. Why are you still... Listen, stop giving away our hiding place. The prince is coming. All right, Christina, you go that way. I'll go this way.
Okay, yeah, and we'll just keep on walking. Don't look back.
Don't look back.
I said don't look back.
We're just two normal girls out for a walk. They're not magic shoes. Okay, bye. Goodbye, Christina.
Goodbye. You hang up first.
Okay, bye.
Bye.